Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Harebrained Games, the Weekend Games. I seem to have fallen into a bi-weekly schedule the last couple weeks, and I do apologize for that. Got a couple things coming this week that I hope are exciting that'll help make up for my egregious lack of updates next week. Had a great time, great Palm Sunday, fun time in church, and now it's time to talk games. Let's get right to the news. Okay, even in the last couple weeks, it's been a little bit subdued for the most part. There's been some trade shows here and there. Gamma, I think, was a big hit and whatever. But there is one thing that I'm really excited about, and that is a new Kickstarter for a series of game. There's a series of games called the Warfighter series from DVG Games, who specialize in basically simulations, light. And I'm talking from war game over as far as light simulations of various conflicts, and they had Warfighter, the sort of the modern Warfighter game, which I really enjoyed. Then they came out with the World War II version, which specialized mostly in the European theater, and now they're coming out with the Pacific Theater World War II Warfighter, and I am absolutely stoked for that. They've smashed their goals. There's a ludicrous amount of things coming out for those who back it, and it's really not that much, comparatively speaking, to back. Great stuff. They've got new campaigns, so Iwo Jima, Guadalcanal, and various others, and it's just, I'm really looking forward to it. So if that's of interest to you and you think that might be interesting, you can play it solo, you can play it cooperatively with up to 4 other people, so you might want to check that out if you're interested. If you haven't done Kickstarter, these guys are pretty solid, pretty reliable as far as their ability to get stuff out like they promise. So with that, that's great. And then, of course, it's award time, even in the first few months, a lot of awards. But the Board Game Geek Awards came out, and as expected, or as I expected, Gloomhaven just shot through all the awards and won everything, as well it should. It is a meaty, mighty, manly mass of awesome gaming, and I'm continuing through my own campaign. I've got 2 copies of it, Ludicrous Part 2, and I'm just enjoying the heck out of it. So congratulations to the designer of Gloomhaven. I know it was a almost singular labor of love, and it's crazy. Sometimes these phenomenons just strike. You know, you got your Minecrafts, you got your PUBG, you got your Gloomhavens. So with that, let's get to my question of the week. All right, this question is kind of similar to one I posed a few months ago, which is how many board games are too many, whatever. But mostly it's like, why do you have so many board games when you could never play them all? And it was a good question posed to me, and it was posed by someone who just was aghast of, like, here's a whole thing of games, like, why, I mean, it could be food, it could be water, it could be donations to important things. So I understood the mindset, and I know that sometimes people go that and go like, hey, that's a ludicrous amount of games you got there. That's the word for the day for Sesame Street fans, is ludicrous. But it did get me thinking a little bit about that and why I have games that I can't possibly fathom playing just regularly at all. Why do I have them? And I started realizing that there are people that buy games to play, and they keep a certain amount, like 50 or whatever, and they limit it to that, and one goes in, one goes out. Great props, mad respect to that and stuff. But then there are people like me who are like, hey, fun, I collect. Mostly, I'm hoping someday to have a library to give to be able to like let people loan and play these, and become sort of a library of entertainment where people can come and face to face and stuff. I'm hoping to see that vision realized sometime in the next decade. And that doesn't justify maybe buying too many games, because we all know I do. But it comes down to a thing, and I realized as I was looking, and I'm just staring at the panorama games, and like, why? What motivates me to get games that I wouldn't necessarily think that I would get true maximum value out of? And it dawned on me that some of these are just trophy games. Trophy games. That's just, I've been blessed to be able to get trophy games. And it harkened back to a time back when I was growing up, and my mom she was absolutely against Barbie. So was I. I didn't care. That was my sister's thing. But no Barbies. Barbies were evil. Barbies were, disproportionately whatever. But then I'm in college, and I get back from college, and I get to my old room, and what is in there? Like, it's stuffed, filled with Barbies. Like hundreds of Barbies. over the years, my mom had started collecting Barbies. I'm like, why? Why do you have this? This is so pointless. You don't have, like, they're just Barbies. Like, what do you do with them? Like, don't open the box. I'm like, okay, I won't open the box. And what did you do with my memories? This was my room. Like, you're not here now. I'm like, okay, well, rock on. But it did bring up the fact that, I mean, she liked collecting. Collecting was the satisfying aspect for her. She had no intention of ever playing with them, ever, but she liked collecting them. And they're still there today. There's still a big collection of Barbie dolls. She did eventually stop collecting and keep going on and on, but over the course, she looked forward. Every time they had a new release, she wanted to go get the Barbie with this theme and the Barbie with that theme. They were trophy games. They were there just to be there. Now, there are some games I get there's some games I'm like, like, how can you not have this game when you have those other games? And sometimes I feel like I get guilted into buying games, and I'm like, all right, I guess I do need to have that game, even, because it's, that's silly. You shouldn't do that, and I shouldn't do it either, but I do. Although, there is one game that I will not buy that people are shocked I don't own, and that is Catan. I don't actually like Catan. I never have liked Catan. I have liked that other people liked Catan. I have liked that Catan was a way for other people who are used to playing Monopoly and Uno and Life and all those other sort of mainstream games to find something a little interesting, and that would like bring them in and like, hey, if Catan's good, check out these other 10,000 better games and stuff. But I never did like Catan, and I had one of the worst, most horrible experiences with a game session of Catan. I'm like, never gonna have it, never gonna own it, just ain't happening. That's not gonna be a trophy game. As far as I'm concerned, the sheep can have their own wood. And with that ends up our question. Let's get to our 3 games of the week. All right, game number 1, Space, The Final Frontier, Part 50. The Expanse is a movie series that I've been trying to watch on Amazon. I've been making my way through it. I have to admit, it's pretty slow in plotting for me, but it is designed to, it feels like it's got sort of this sort of like a diplomatic Star Trek-y kind of like, but with a mystery kind of thing going on. And I'm a few episodes in, but I couldn't help it because someone said, hey, this is like Twilight Struggle with a theme. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll buy it. I've decided not to actually dive in and play this until I do finish through the series, just because I think it adds some context that might make it more interesting to me. But for those of you who do love the Expanse board game, from what I'm seeing, yeah, it looks like it represents the various factions that I've seen thus far in the series well, and I'll have a little bit more information on that later. Then, on a completely different note, not Space Empires. For those of you who don't know, this game has been around for many years, and it's a labor of love from a designer who spent many years perfecting and refining this. If you're like me, and you're probably not, and I wouldn't wish that on you, you are probably, you would you have been me, which you're not, but maybe someday, never mind. I had great experiences growing up with these old-time computers that filled the size of the room, and you're like, oh, tap, ASCII. You either got the green monitor or you got the amber monitor, whatever. But games with space games where you would literally put in your turns for the week, and then some joker would go and process the turns at this little program, and it would spit out this ASCII view of the universe and a bunch of stuff, and like, hey, you hit this, just like reams of paper on this fixed width printer from long ago. And you would spend, games of this would go on for years. Generally speaking, whenever I played them, they'd go about 10 turns, and then it would all just go like fizzle away because people got distracted. But those 10 turns were such potential. Like, starting out was great. It's like sometimes when you spend more time creating your character for a role-playing game, and then you play 2 sessions of it because everyone gets busy, but you spend all that time building this. It's like that potential is just... Space Empires is like that, but in a box that's more contained and streamlined and cool. You still have a paper, you still have a pencil, and you still are moving your pieces around. It is the closest thing to a true, like the purest form of a 4X space strategy game that you'll get. And not only is there that, but there's Close Encounters, which came out afterwards. It adds even more complexity. Wouldn't start with this one until you really got into it. And Replicators, which just came out as well. But this is the kind of game you want to play if you want just this nice space epic fueled from the past. I mean, if you love space and you don't have a dot matrix printer, this is the game for you. And finally, we have... Pretty cool, huh? Vivid. Very vivid. I mean, the box tells the story. What is this? Well, this is to be determined. Later this week, I'm going to have a special episode, and we're going to find out what is in this box. I think it's pretty cool. You've heard me mention it before, but we'll just save the surprise for last, because the best kind of prize is a surprise. So with that, that's our, possibly, third game of the week. And now it's time for Tim's Tantrum. Get off my land. Alright. I know what you guys are doing, you distributors of games. When you put little promos of other games in the box that I open for games that I don't own, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me to buy that other game that goes with the promo card. I'm not fooled, but I got a surprise back for you. It only works about 80% of the time. Yeah, joke's on you. And with that, we wrap up another week in games. Don't forget our pick of the week. Let me know if you know what game this is, and I'll give you mad cool props. Yay! And with that, thanks again, and we'll see you later this week on Harebrained Games.